everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and welcome once again to the Wild and Crazy Comic Vault. It's time for Rapid Fire Comic Reviews. I'm going to go through all the books I read this last week in rapid succession, and before I do that, I want to say thanks as always to Elite Comics in Overland Park, Kansas for helping me out with the show. If you are ever in the Kansas City area, do yourself a favor and jump over to Overland Park. Check out Elite Comics. It's an absolutely fantabulous store, and if you want to learn more about Elite Comics and some other fascinating stores in the Midwest, check out the Midwestern Panels, the documentary directed by myself and Vince. It's a 2-hour road movie all about some really interesting and exciting stores smattered across the Midwest. It is back once again, finally, for streaming rental here on YouTube, so you can check that out just for $3, or you can go to Geekvolution.com and get a DVD. And now, enough hawking stuff, let's get on to new acquisitions, shall we? All the stuff that I picked up this week, and I'm going to go through this as quickly as humanly possible. So let's start with Marvel, and as I often like to do, let's start with the number one, shall we? Here we go. This is Red Skull number 1, another Secret Wars tie-in. I've been reading a bizarre number of these. Often I don't get real excited about tie-ins for events, but a lot of these have been really fun and different and have kind of opened up the world of Battle World, and it's been a lot of fun to really explore this topsy-turvy, bizarre, kind of grafted together version of the Marvel Universe by Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange. I like this one a lot because it kind of helps to tie all that stuff together, and it's one of the few that's not set in a specific pocket of Battle World, but actually kind of traverses more of it. The premise here is basically Marvel Suicide Squad. It's taking a bunch of villains that have ticked off the God Doom and bringing them together with Suicide Collars. It's exactly the same kind of thing where if they do what they're told, they'll be set free, and if they don't, they're going to get blown up. And the idea is that Crossbones, because he also has a bone skull motif, brings together all these villains, including Magneto and Electro and a bunch of others, in order to try to go and find Red Skull, who may or may not even exist, according to a lot of people. And the one thing that all these folks have in common is that they've all done things to disrespect or otherwise damage the image of Doctor Doom, of the God Doom, and so they're kind of as penance, but also because they all have a lot of useful skills. They're brought together by Crossbones to go off and try to find Red Skull. It's kind of interesting that right out the gate we don't have Red Skull in the book yet. It's about these other characters going and trying to find him, and the big question is, whether or not we're going to run into him. At least, that's the idea opening the book. I really enjoyed this. A lot of it's sort of some of the black humor that you would expect for a book like this, but pretty tame in comparison to some Suicide Squad stories and things like that. It's not super ultra violent yet anyway, but mostly a setup issue, just getting these characters together. There's quite a bit of levity in this book. It's fun. It's funny, but again, in kind of a dark and somewhat twisted sort of way. Next up, it's Darth Vader number 7. I don't have a lot to say about this. Kind of setting up a lot of politics and stuff to moving forward with the Hutts and with a lot of bounty hunters and things like that. Darth Vader is kind of front-loaded at the beginning of this book and then sort of disappears in his own comic for a lot of it as we're setting up some, again, bounty hunter politics. Probably the biggest selling point for this is Vader, at the beginning of this, going to Tatooine and visiting, and for us, revisiting Luke Skywalker's old home and seeing what exactly he does there. Not a whole ton of story here. Like I said, mostly kind of set up for the next arc. I feel like we kind of we're kind of in this transition place where we told a story in the first 6 issues, and it's not really a full-blown beginning, middle, and end sort of story. We're still moving on, and I think you wouldn't even be able to really tell that was a story break, except that that's where they're doing the I guess they're doing trades every 6 issues. But it really does feel like kind of this transition of we're finished with with some stuff, and we're kind of moving on to some other stuff. Still really enjoying the Darth Vader's kind of right-hand hench chick right now, and their dynamic together is interesting, but she's not in a whole lot of this issue. Like I said, we're mostly just kind of setting up some political stuff. Next up, let's talk about Secret Wars number 4. Oh boy, we're at the midway point for Secret Wars, and things are really ramping up. We're learning a lot about more about how the new universe was kind of put together, and there's a little bit of catching up the characters that were on the lifeboat to speed on things that we sort of know already, although I did kind of appreciate the recap at the beginning of this, that it's somewhat recappy and somewhat actually telling us new things, because it kind of confirms some things for me. So there's a lot of stuff that you can kind of infer as you're reading along, and then there's a lot of kind of coming right out and saying, yes, definitely, this is what's going on. This is somewhat of this is a really complex premise, and it's working. I feel like Hickman is working really hard to make it more than just a gimmick to get us to the new Marvel Universe and trying to actually make a story out of this. Still really interested in Doctor Doom's worldview and how he views himself as God, because he indisputably kind of is God, but then there's suddenly this other side to things that Cyclops brings in, of since he rebuilt the world out of an old world, how much of God is he really, and will he be able to hold on to that, and is he maybe not just another man with delusions of grandeur who has these big dreams and ideas and is able to create this perception of godhood, but he really is just a man who has too much power right now, and that coming from the Phoenix is really cool, and a really interesting idea. A great time to bring the Phoenix back to Cyclops. And we're finally bringing Mr. Fantastic in. Dr. Doom has been looking for a version of Reed, finally found one, and we're finding that he still has all of the old insecurities that he had from the old world. He's still terrified of Reed Richards, even though he didn't even know if there was one in this new world. And so seeing his kind of humanity shine through, and some of his kind of human flaws is really cool. And then of course the way Doctor Strange fits in all of this has been kind of the most fascinating part for me. His being Doctor Doom's lieutenant and choosing not to play God, and what happens with him at the end of this is surprising and really interesting to see. Interesting to see where it goes moving forward. Next up, it's Years of Future Past number 2. I really like the developments that are going on here, where we're finding that there's a lot more than meets the eye to Kelly, who, and I guess we have a couple of different Baron Kellys right now. I'm pretty sure they're different. There's the one in X-Men 92, who seems to actually be altruistic and cares about mutants now, and then there's this one who is pretending to do that, but he has more sinister motives behind it. I really like how complex the politics and the kind of morality of mutants versus humans is in this, and there's just a lot of really cool ideas, like the humans created sentinels that are self-aware and have more rights than the mutants they're hunting, and that just on a conceptual level is really interesting. That like the humans in fighting what they fear and hate and don't understand create a thing that is that they see as more human than even the thing that they're hunting, that still are humans, just a mutant offshoot, and that's really interesting. There's this big long monologue in the middle of this that who is this? Colossus, I think, that takes up an entire page, and I took one look at it and was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe how much dialogue we're putting on a single page. This looks a little bit too like McFarlane-y to me, and it's really, really well written. This is, by the way, written by Marguerite Bennett with art by Mike Norton. I praised the art really hard last time as being a really nice tribute and throwback to Days of Future Past, while still having while being kind of a nice mix of with some modern sensibilities. But anyway, he's got this fascinating speech that some might take a look at and see as too preachy, but I think that it fits just fine within the framework of this and in the context of this. You know, we're dealing with some heavy ideas here, and traditionally the kinds of stuff that we always do with the X-Men soap opera. And anyway, he's got this speech that's where he's talking about the idea of legislation against allowing certain people to have children, and where do you draw the line with that? And you know, at the moment that you start saying the idea, the kind of old adage that we should give people licenses to have children, and then he breaks that down and goes through how absolutely terrifying that could actually be, and whether or not you agree with them, it's a really great heartfelt speech. And I really like how all these characters fit in. Just a lot of the classic X-Men ideas repackaged, and really enjoying this so far. Moving over to IDW, it's Ninja Turtles number 47. Wow, 47. I can't believe how long this series has been going. And we've got some really cool developments going on here. This is the first part of a new story arc called Vengeance. And we've got... I almost said Darth Vader. I reviewed that earlier. We've got Shredder coming back to the Foot Clan, and you know, for a while they weren't sure if he was still alive, but of course we knew that he was because he was working with Baxter Stockman, and now he's revealing to Karai his new plot to kill Splinter, and it's all pure revenge. It's really interesting the way he's looking at things, as he doesn't blame anybody in his regime for the failures of the Foot Clan. He blames Splinter as a traitor, because he used to be part of the Foot Clan, of course, and he sees Splinter as the man who betrayed him, and now after everything that's happened, he simply wants revenge, and he has completely lost sight of everything, and Karai is starting to not even buy into his rhetoric, and I feel like we're moving to a potential showdown pretty soon with them, where Shredder's new plan, basically to just send a bunch of Baxter Stockman's robots after Splinter. She says, "Is that honorable?" And Shredder says, "It's honor. This is about vengeance." And he doesn't even have his old moral code anymore. It's kind of neat. We're seeing the Shredder that starts from a somewhat more complex place where he is. He's always bending rules, and he's always kind of redefining things for his own purposes, but there's always the part of him, and I think that's kind of what makes him interesting, this kind of twisted thing where he thinks that he has a moral code, and he never really does. It's always about whatever he wants, and there's a lot of kind of bully stuff in this book, and I think, by the way, there's more Hun and Casey stuff in this, and I think it makes a lot of sense to put those two things together in this issue, because Han is just one big bully, and so is the Shredder. And at the moment that she says this isn't honorable, it looks like things are about to take a really interesting turn. But I feel like we've kind of had this build to kind of the more two-dimensional, straight-up evil Shredder, but it gets there from a character place, and I think that's really cool. We've still, of course, got Donatello's mind inside the body of Metalhead. I'm loving that. I think it's absolutely fascinating. I wonder how long he's going to stay there. Judging by how gradual of a pace we have in this book, and I don't mean that in a bad way. We just really take our time in this book. He could be in Metalhead's body for 10 issues. Who knows? And there is not as much in this issue, but I haven't really spoken about this yet. There are kind of some identity issues being built up with that. The question is, with Donatello's mind in Metalhead's body, is he really the same person as he was in his own body, now that he is able to make these like super fast calculations and all of that, how is it changing him, or is he even the same person as he was before? And if he goes back to his body, how's he going to cope? And so there's kind of some interesting existential questions there. And then with the Casey and Hun stuff, I got to be honest with you, that stuff has kind of started to wear thin for me. Every now and again we have another confrontation with them, and it's kind of always the same thing where Hun's the bully. There's always talk about trading up family and whether or not blood is thicker than water, and if what they have is just blood, and all of that. And all of that is back here, and I feel like a tad overwritten. I feel like we've kind of been here and done this already. On the other hand, there's a little bit more of a finality to it here, and I kind of think that we're moving past it now, and we're going to take that in some different places, so that's good. But I do feel like it's kind of an old tired argument that it reaches a place that it hasn't reached before, and since we haven't seen it for a while, I can see why, a lot of the same talk happens here, but it is kind of redundant, and I'm excited to kind of move past it. We also set up the road trip that we have with Casey and April, which I reviewed last week, the first issue, which I was kind of surprised that this didn't come out before that, because so far IDW's been really good at putting those things out in linear order, where the Turtles issue that would set up a miniseries comes out, and then right after that you get the miniseries, and I was very surprised that proceeded it. Not a big deal, but I have really enjoyed just how organized they've been about that. There is kind of a comedic moment to me, though, where April is saying, "Bye, Mom and Dad, I'm going to go on this road trip," while there's all these robots flying overhead that she seems to not even notice, and she's just going to skip town while all these robots are going to go attack Splinter, and she just doesn't even notice that they're flying overhead. I find that hard to believe. Anyway, another really enjoyable and a great character-driven issue of Ninja Turtles. Finally, the X-Files Season 10 finale. This is issue 25, oversized, double charged. This is an $8 issue instead of a $4 issue, and this is the climax, the conclusion, except that it ends on a giant crazy cliffhanger of the arc that has brought back Gibson. If you know X-Files, you might remember this character. He was the chess player, the brilliant kid chess player who's kind of this tragic character that had these amazing mind powers and was used as a guinea pig and experimented upon, and a very kind of mutant Magneto kind of situation. And now he's grown up, and he is kind of getting his revenge on the Shadow Government, and he's got this whole crazy cloning operation, and just like Magneto, he sees what he's doing as the right thing, but he is very conflicted and clearly is too emotionally motivated, and it's got Mulder and Scully, especially Scully, very much at a catch-22, because this is a person that they've helped and that they care a lot about, and he's their friend, but he's the big bad right now, and he's doing all these horrible things to people, and he's got too much power and doesn't know what to do with it, and I think is kind of still a child. I think he's kind of the kid that never grew up because he didn't have any guidance, and because he was just treated like a lab experiment. He's a very sympathetic character, a really tragic character, and I love the direction that they've taken him. I wish this could have been on television. I wish this could have been a miniseries. I think it's absolutely riveting stuff, and like I said, really sad and tragic, and the cliffhanger at the end is surprising and shocking. One of the things I love about the story, I guess 5 parts, is I know what's going on, and I can sink my teeth into it, and it's not confusing and convoluted at all. It makes a lot of sense, and I like the way that the Smoking Man and his colleagues are roped into this, and there's a lot of there's a whole lot of mythology stuff that's all mythology, and also just like characters of this universe stuff that are all put together in this that really tie a lot of things together and kind of help the world feel a little bit less convoluted than it is actually. Something I'm really surprised by is that we're getting a season 11. As soon as I saw that this was the last issue of the season, I was like, oh, okay, they gotta wrap this up real quick and cancel it because we've got X-Files coming back to TV. We're gonna have the miniseries, and then at the end of this, there's an ad for X-Files season 11, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna keep going with this. Okay. It'll be interesting to see if it works very well in tandem with what they're doing on television, but I suspect that part of the reason that they're allowing this is because the miniseries, from everything Chris Carter has said, really sounds like it's going to be standalone stories that don't really have a lot to do with the mythology, stand alone really well, and we'll see if that's actually the case, but it'll be really cool if that's a thing that actually fits okay with this, and that you can still kind of see this as canonical. Not a big deal if it's not. These stories have been really good, and I enjoy them regardless. But it's also kind of funny though, because we've had this whole comic season called Season 10, and that when the miniseries comes out, a lot of websites, when they chronicle all the seasons, will refer to that as Season 10. But this is, this actually looks like a full season of television. I highly recommend this. If you have not been reading X-Files, but you love that show, and 25 issues too much of a commitment for you, you haven't been reading all the way, go back to the beginning of this story arc and just read that, because I think it stands fine on its own, and especially if you like the Gibson character and what they did with him in the show. That was always one of my favorite things, and I really like how they built on that here, and I don't want to say the conclusion of that, because it doesn't seem like it's quite done. This does end on a crazy cliffhanger, but it's kind of the logical direction to go with that. But also, a lot of surprises there too. Bouncing over to DC, we've got Batman Arkham Knight number 6. We have the showdown between Batman and Bane, with Poison Ivy right in the middle. This is a really action-driven issue. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of kind of a fun melodramatic dialogue from Bane. I feel like the tone that Tomasi's got for this is very different from the Arkham Knight game, and now that I've been sinking my teeth into that and playing it a lot, the Batman here doesn't feel like exactly the same Batman there. I'm not saying that it's horribly inconsistent, but that Batman is beaten down and grizzled and seems kind of ready to be done with everything, but he's forcing himself to keep moving forward, and he's so weary and tired, and this Batman is drawn that way, but doesn't seem to really be talking and acting that way. This is much more of a traditional, fun Batman story, and I like the way that a lot of the game mechanics are built into this. That's one of the things that's always fun about the Arkham comics, and that I saw a lot with the last run, the Arkham Unhinged series, where here there's kind of a clever use of the explosive gel, and anyway, overall, I would recommend this as like I said, just a fun tie-in comic. It'll be interesting to see if there's more stuff as we move forward that informs the game more. Arkham Knight himself does make an appearance at the end of this, and this is a thing that is happening around that game, and it's not just totally random and disconnected, but it's certainly not a really heavy story. I do like some of the character stuff with Bane. He is starting to kind of change his perceptions of Gotham and the way he's looking at things, since he just keeps losing all the time and he can't break Batman. He's seeing Gotham now is not worthy of his ruling it, as he always felt himself worthy of, and had these delusions of grandeur, and he's he's kind of just fed up with the whole thing. But it does strike me a little bit as, here's a character that we're not doing a whole lot with in the video game, so let's give him something to do here. But it is really enjoyable, and I would certainly recommend it as supplemental material, especially if you've been playing and enjoying that game. Next up, it's Detective Comics number 42. This is the second issue in this series of the Jim Gordon as Batman with his blimp that shoots a bat symbol upside down. This is kind of more of the same so far. We're not getting a whole lot of legwork done here. It still feels very set-up-y. We're kind of just setting up the threat for Jim Gordon in this, the gang that he's going to be fighting. There are these guys in these skeleton outfits that are all kind of Day of the Dead, and it's... I guess what I'm still latching onto most is just his relationship with Bullock, and again, there's not a whole lot of new stuff there. It's kind of just more the same. A lot of Bullock being aggravated, he seems a little bit conflicted, where he doesn't like that he's got to stand around and wait for stuff to happen with Batman before he's able to come in and help. Batman's supposed to do things on his own, and then he's got backup instead of them working together as partners. And I can kind of see how that might eventually get in the way of Jim and Bullock's friendship, but he's conflicted because since it is Jim Gordon, he feels the need to support him. And so that relationship's still working well. I like his banter and quips with Montoya. There's some good writing in this. This is Francis Manapul, but like I said, I'm kind of surprised that we're still so much in setup territory, and I'm kind of ready for things to start moving along a little bit more swiftly. Green Arrow number 42. This was really surprising. I'm suddenly a lot more engaged and interested in this book than I was before. I was liking the tone and kind of bringing this back to a more grounded and street-level place, but wasn't real into the writing or even the story from last time. What we have here is bringing Green Arrow back to some social commentary. All it's missing now is some levity. It's kind of back to traditional Green Arrow, where he is the kind of the liberal face of the people, and all of that, and it's got the social commentary about the big corporations beating down the poor and the destitute, but the problem right now for me is just that it's not real fun yet. This is really heavy, and I like the ideas a lot, but I'm ready for Oliver Queen to just lighten up a little bit. We've already got the really super dark and broody Arrow on TV. I'm ready for this version to get a little bit more fun and jokey, but then I don't know where that would come from right now, because he's and I am enjoying the broody tone of it. Don't get me wrong, but if levity's not going to come from there, I wish it would kind of come from somewhere, because right now it's kind of relentless. What we've got going on here is a project that Oliver Queen made the mistake of sanctioning at one point, and he's blaming himself for this, and somewhat rightly so, where there's this giant robot drone thing that goes around and profiles people, and you can be kind of obliterated based on your personality profile and your psychology, and before you've ever actually committed a crime. And it's all about profiling and trying to stop problems before they happen, and how that takes away people's freedoms. And it's very much the Age of Ultron idea done, just packaged in kind of a different sort of way. I like I said, it's just really heavy, but like I said, the ideas are really interesting and solid, and I'm intrigued if nothing else. Next up is Batman Beyond number 2. Speaking of depressing, so as I said last time with this book, we have Tim Drake in the future in a Batman Beyond world that is bleaker than it was before because of the events of Future's End. Nobody has any freedoms at all, really, and Brother Eye runs everything with an iron fist, and it's just really super sad. And there's a lot of mind-washing, a lot of brainwashing going on. And if you don't get immediately with the system, then you get turned into this mindless zombie that has this giant smile on its face all the time. And I think it's really interesting that we're doing that without a Joker plot. It continues to be pretty disturbing. It's good. I like it. I kind of miss a Batman Beyond world that is kind of like I said with Green Arrow. It has a little bit more levity to it, and maybe more of that will come as it goes along. Tim Drake can be kind of fun and quippy here and there at times. He is definitely written as a human character that can find the humor when there's any to be found at all. But so far, this is another really kind of bleak apocalyptic future, and I'm enjoying seeing where some of these characters are that I enjoyed in Batman Beyond in this really terribly bleak, depressing future. But I don't know how many issues of this I could read before I just wanted to go back to Batman Beyond. Next up, it's Bat-Mite #2 and Bizarro #2. I'm going to talk about these just really briefly. More of the same. I'm really enjoying these series. One thing I'm very surprised by with both of these is that both of them are kind of using the same structure, where they are miniseries, but it's not a story that's going through 6 issues. It's so far 2-issue chunks. I don't know if it's going to keep going that way, but the things that both of these characters were dealing with in their first issue are already wrapped up in the second issue, and they're moving along to other things. I said that I was surprised by Bat-Mite last time because while it's from his perspective, and Bat-Mite is constantly talking and joking and being silly and looking at things from this more impish perspective, it didn't seem like a really comedic book. It just seemed like a regular Batman story with Bat-Mite in it. It continues to sort of be that, but it's getting a little bit sillier, and it's turning into a little bit more of what you might have expected, but with more of this like a DC canonical twist of it's less like Bizarro, in that Bizarro feels like to a degree a collection of Sunday funny comics that kind of create a loose narrative. This is again kind of a regular Batman story with Bat-Mite in it, but because of his powers and the influence that he's having on characters, he's kind of starting to turn the world around him into something a little bit more like what he would want it to be, and so it's a little bit jokier. But anyway, here he has to stop this evil woman who's trying to put her brain in a Hawkman. He's trying to stop her from doing that, and his kind of commentary and jokes about Hawkman are really funny. I enjoyed this. Bizarro, I actually enjoyed a little bit more. This whole road trip thing with Jimmy Olsen and Bizarro is a lot of fun. This is a joke every couple of seconds. I love the way this is paced. It's kind of this rapid fire kind of pacing, and I really like the way Corson is writing Bizarro. There's a weird amount of truth to things Bizarro says sometimes, even when you're not really sure if he means what he's saying or the opposite, and that's a lot of fun. I love all the puns. There's a lot of hilarity in this. The funniest thing for me is this, again, kind of Sunday funny sort of thing, where there's a full page where they go to Gotham and they go to this restaurant, and it's just nothing but puns for food items based on characters in the Batman universe. I think my favorite was the Bratmobile, a bratwurst that's named after the Batmobile. Anyway, that is going to be it for my reviews today. Now I'm going to choose my favorite for this week. So here comes Book of the Week, and I got to go with Secret Wars #4. Once again, this book keeps subverting my expectations. I never know where exactly it's going to go, and I can't help but constantly wonder how much of what's going on in this anybody's going to remember after it happens, but I suspect that the ramifications of this are going to be felt really hard after it. Cover of the week, I think I would also have to give to Secret Wars. Dr. Doom looking really menacing and sinister in his chair. Don't mess with Dr. Doom. He's God. His word is the be-all, end-all. But if I had to pick another one, I kind of liked the Bat-Mite cover this week, where it's kind of aping Silver Age covers with the dialogue on the page and all the different iterations of Hawkman. That's kind of fun. Anyway, thanks as always for watching. Sure hope you enjoyed it. I'll be with you again next week with more new comic reviews. And in the meantime, as I said before, if you're ever in the Kansas City area, be sure to check out Elite Comics in Overland Park. I'm Captain Logan, and happy reading.